Congratulations, you've made it to the final lesson of the unit. You have survived. First couple weeks of school haven't been quite as bad as you thought they were going to be. So let's get going on this. We're getting into word problems. So we have two types of word problems we're going to look at today. The first one is going to be single variable word problems. And as I mentioned to you previously, when we have word problems like this, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions, or if they're harder problems. So our first step in solving a single variable word problem is going to be to assign the variable. We're going to write a let statement. So it's going to say let x, or whatever letter you choose, represent this. Then we're going to write our equation. Then we're going to solve our equation, which we know how to do. And then we're going to answer the question. We're going to talk about what that means besides not forgetting the label when we get there. So our first problem, we have Janet. Janet has 3 times as much money as Peter. Together they have $40. How much money does each have? My rule of thumb, start with the person or thing that has less. So when I read it, it says Janet has 3 times as much money as Peter, which means Peter has less money. So I'm going to say, I'm going to use P for Peter, but I can't just say P equals Peter, because I don't know what about Peter. So I have to say Peter's money. So now I have that. I know that if I take Janet, so I don't know how much Janet has, so I'm going to use J for right now. If I take Janet and Peter together, I'm going to get $40. But I can't use 2 variables because I will never get this problem solved. But I do know that Janet has 3 times as much money as Peter. So if I take the amount Peter has and triple it, or 3P, I will get Janet. So therefore, I'm going to simply replace J with 3P. So my equation then is going to be 3P plus P equals 40. So that's step 2. Now we move on to step 3 of solving. I'm going to take 3P plus P. 3P plus P is 4P, not 3P. It's amazing how many will say 3P plus P equals 3P. So you mean if you have 3 peanuts and I give you a peanut, you still only have 3 peanuts? Unless you're magical and have eaten it before and swallowed it before I get that in your hand, which I don't think you're that fast. So 4P equals 40. I can then go 4P divided by 4, 40 divided by 4, so it says P equals 10. So now here comes the answering the question part. You can't just stick a dollar sign on 10. It says how much money does each person have. So I would have to say, make a statement. It can be a phrase. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence. But Janet has, if Peter has $10 and together they have 40, that means if I take 40 minus 10, I get Janet's, which is 30. So we'd say Janet has $30. And Peter has $10. And that would be the last piece. So let's move on to example B.
So example B says is that the sum of 40 and twice a number is 194. So what is the number? Well, I know the sum is the answer to an addition problem, so we can say 40 plus, it says twice a number. So I'm going to use n for number, because that's what it tells me in my mind to use. So we're going to have 40 plus 2n equals 194.
Now why is it 2n?
Because it says twice a number. So it means that we need to know what basically 2 times that number is.
Oh, so if it said double a number, that would mean the same thing?
Yes.
So how about we solve this?
So now we're going to take 40 and we're going to minus it, because we know that 40 is a positive on the left, minus it on the right. So then we're left with 2n equals 154. Divide by 2 to each side, and we're left with n equals 77.
So what you should technically do here in answering the question would say the number is 77. I know some of you are rolling your eyes right now because you're going, why do we have to do that? Well, get used to it, because I'm going to be picky like that. Let's look at the next type. Second type of set of problems is proportions word problems. So when we have a proportions word problem, I will tell you to do this. You will set up your proportion, you will solve your proportion. You also have to assign your variable. So we have Crayola Company can make 2,400 crayons in 4 minutes. How many crayons can they make in 15 minutes? So, Mr. Penbergree, what would you say we should use for our variable?
Well, I think we should use C for number of crayons.
Yes, make sure you don't just say C for crayons, because if you say that, I'm going to say C crayons. Are we talking color? Are we talking style? Are we talking brand? I'm going to be that picky because you need to make sure you know what you're talking about. So now we set up our proportion because we know it's a proportion. Something equals something, so then you just fill in the pieces. We got 2,400 crayons, and we can make those in 4 minutes. And it says how many crayons, we don't know that, can they make in 15 minutes? I see a relationship. I see that heading towards the variable, I can take 4 times 600, and some of you are going, how did you know that? Well, 24 divided by 4 is 6, and there's 2 zeros on the end, so 600. So that means if I take times 600 here, I'm going to get C. And Mr. Penbergree, if I put in 15 times 600 into a calculator, what would I get?
9,000.
9,000 exactly?
Yes.
Pretty impressive. So 9,000 crayons can be made at the Crayola Company in 15 minutes. I want to work there. That sounds like fun. Let's look at this one. Now we got, we're going back to geometry. Right triangles, ABC and DEF. I'm going to draw a picture because I want to make sure I got this right. So A, B, C, D, E, F. Short leg. Which one's short leg? Well, it's your picture. You pick. So I'm going to say short leg is 39. I'm going to make this my short leg. And the short leg of DEF measures 13. And hypotenuse of ABC, so I know that's across from the right angle, measures 36. Oh wait, that doesn't work. Because 36 has to be bigger. So let's just flip-flop them. For the purposes, we have the freedom to do that. We're going to flip-flop them. That means if I flip-flop the short leg and say, hey, it's actually the hypotenuse, haha, just kidding. That means I have to make the hypotenuse 13. So I'm going to erase this 13 and I'm going to move it to the hypotenuse. Haha, just kidding. Fooled ya. That's what my 7-year-old would tell you. So that means that this is, I'm going to make it h still just because I said how much is the hypotenuse. So that means that let h equal the missing side. So then I set up my proportion. What do you think the proportion should look like? I'm thinking we'll put 39 over 36 equals 13 over h. I see that if I go from 39 down to 13, I can do that by dividing by 3. That means if I go across here, 36 divided by 3, that gives me 12. So it's 12 centimeters is my missing side length. And I would be happy on one like this because it's asking for a specific length to just leave it as such. And guess what? It's your lucky day since it's the last one of the unit. I know the video is a little longer than you would like it to be, but know what? There are no you-try problems. So you can enjoy the rest of your evening just having to think about what you need to put into your summary because this is going to be the last summary we're going to write partially together. So have a good night.